Morning, church. Today me and my brothers are talking about the Queen Esther, the beautiful Queen Esther. One day there was once a beautiful girl named Esther. When her father and mother died, Esther's cousin Mordecai brought her up. Esther honored her cousin by obeying him as a good daughter. So over there in the blue is Mordecai, and in the purple is beautiful Esther. Esther lived in Persia. But Esther was not Persian, she was Jewish. Her ancestors came to Persia as prisoners of war. In Esther's day, many Jews lived in Persia. So here are all the Jews in Persia who are in slavery. The king of Persia held a huge banquet for princes from all over the world. The men ate apart from the women, who were also banqueting with the queen Vashti. The drunken king ordered Queen Vashti to wear the royal crown and show her beauty. Queen Vashti refused. So here's the king of the drunken king who told Queen Vashti to take off and show her beauty. To show that ladies should honor their husbands, the king passed a law which took the crown from Vashti. She was no longer queen. This Queen Vashti having a crown taken away. A search was made for a new queen. Out of all the beautiful girls in the kingdom, the king chose Esther as his wife. He set the royal crown upon her head. Esther did not tell the king she was Jewish because the cousin had told her not to. So over here is Queen Esther crowned queen. Cousin Mordecai spent his time at the entrance to the palace to hear news of Esther. One day he overheard two palace servants planning to murder the king. Mordecai sent a warning which saved the king's life. The servants were hanged, and Mordecai's name was written in the king's record books. So here's the two men who were plotting to kill the king. Second in command to the king was a rich man called Haman. Everybody bowed when Haman passed by. Everybody except one man. As a Jew, Mordecai worshipped only the living God. Over here is Haman, who everyone served, and over here is everybody bowing down. Haman hated Mordecai so much he decided to kill him and all the Jews in Persia. How dreadful! Wicked Haman tricked the king into signing a law that at a certain time every Jew in the kingdom will be killed. It was a terrible law. Both Jews and Persians mourned. But remember, God had made Esther queen, and she was a Jew. Would she keep a secret from the king, or would she risk death to try and save her people? So over here in this picture, Esther in yellow is asking God what to do. God gave Esther a clear idea. She invited the king and Haman to a banquet. There the king promised her anything she asked. Let the king and Haman come to my banquet tomorrow, Esther replied. Then she would tell the king what she wanted. Meanwhile, Haman prepared a huge gallows to hang Mordecai. So yeah, the huge gallows that Mordecai was going to be hanged on. That night the king couldn't sleep. Reading the court records, he saw that Mordecai had never been rewarded for saving his life. Next morning, the king asked Haman, "What shall be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Haman was delighted. He thought the king meant him. Haman had come to ask the king's permission to hang Mordecai. The gallows were all ready. Now that could wait. Excitedly, Haman poured out his suggestions. Dress the man in the king's robe and crown. Set him on the king's horse. Command a royal prince to lead the man through the city for all to see. Hasten and do so for Mordecai the Jew, the king commanded Haman. How do you think Haman felt as he led Mordecai in honor around the city? He hated Mordecai even more than before. Just wait, Haman may have thought, he'll soon be dead, along with all the other Jews. So here is Mordecai. Later that day, Haman and the king arrived at Queen Esther's banquet. "What is your pretension?" the king asked. He had not forgotten his promise. Pointing to Haman, Queen Esther told the king all about Haman's wicked plot. In anger, the king said, "Hang him." So here is Haman in the yellow being hanged. Then the king passed another law allowing the Jews to defend themselves. It was saved. Mordecai became second in command to the king, and all the Jews rejoiced and gave gifts to one another. Even today, Jewish people remember how God saved them through beautiful Queen Esther. Thank you.
Now I'll give it over to my brother Aiki to tell us the moral of the story.
So the moral of the story is that Esther obeyed Mordecai when she was young and when she was the queen of Persia.
We
Esther,
can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Esther obeyed Mordecai from when she was young and when she was the queen of Persia. And I'll be reading Esther 2, verse 20, NIV version. But Esther had kept a secret her family background and nationality just as Mordecai had told her to do. For she continued to follow Mordecai's instructions as she had done when she was bringing her up. We should have faith in God like Mordecai. If if God can save Mordecai, he can save us. You should not be afraid of practicing your faith and standing up of what you believe. We, we should be humble and not be proud like Haman. If you humble yourself, God will make you great like Haman. If you if you can become proud, God will humble you like Haman. Esther 6, verse 11 and 12. So Haman got the robe and the horse. He robed Mordecai and led him on horseback through the city streets, proclaiming before him, "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." Afterwards, Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman rushed home with his head covered in grief. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I will be talking about the Jewish festival that the Jews celebrate. The Jews celebrate this day. So the day that they celebrate is called Purim. Purim, the Hebrew word for lots, English Feast of Lots, a joyous Jewish festival commemorating the survival of the Jews who in the 5th century BCE were marked for death by their Persian rulers. The story is related in the biblical book of Esther. Purim is celebrated on February the 26th. The historical reality of this biblical episode has often been questioned, and the actual origins of the Purim festival, which was already long established by the 2nd century, remain unknown. The ritual observance of Purim begins with a day of fasting, Ta'anit Esther, fast of Esther, on Adar 30 the day preceding the actual holiday. The most distinctive aspect of the synagogue service is the reading of the book of Esther. On Purim, Jews are also enjoined to exchange gifts and make donations to the poor. Through the years, many non-religious customs have come to be associated with the festival. Among them, the baking of three-corned pastries called Haman Tashen, Haman's ears. Purim plays Purim plays, which became popular during the 17th century, contribute to the carnival atmosphere, especially enjoyed by the children. Thank you for listening and for your time and listening to our children's sermon. We'll now hand over to the elders.